All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got an injury report that came out, and it doesn't have good news on it, and I'm here to tell you why it does not matter for their upcoming game against the Dallas Cowboys, so we're going to get into that. But before we get into that, let's tell you about this channel. My name's Craig. We do this. We are Lions fans. You see the shirt. You see the Hutch jersey back there. But we have been covering the Bucs for quite a while on this channel amongst other teams that seem to not get that national recognition that maybe they deserve. And so we just want to give you a fair, honest assessment of what your team is, and hopefully not with a huge bias going in as well. But I was thinking, as I'm recording this, the games are about to start. We got a ton of college football games. We got a couple pro games, which means probably not a lot of people are going to watch this video because they're watching actual football. But what is your level of excitement, and do you care about college football? What's your level of excitement for this new playoff? And do you care about college football? Like, are you a big fan? Or because you're down in Tampa country, are you a big Miami or Florida State fan? And because they aren't in the playoff, do you just not care? I just want to know what the thoughts are, because I've found more and more people that love professional football, but not college. Whereas for me, I'm a nut. Like, I love college football too. You got Harbaugh back there. You got my Nico Collins jersey that's signed. Like, I love U of M as well. So I'm a big college football guy. But let's get into the injury report, and we're going to talk about this and where the injuries, well, there's a lot of people, for starters, just on the injury report. You have Antoine Winfield is back from IR or whatever, but he's not practicing. He is going to be out for that game. We've been without him for some time now, so that's not the one that is the big struggle for me. We've also been without Britt and Edwards for a second, so they're used to playing games without those players available. The one that's hitting me is Cade Otton. And this was one of those, okay, he got the knee. He's doubtful for the game. He has been an absolute Iron Man for this team. I really don't know when the last time he missed time was. I think he missed a game as a rookie, but he's basically out there all the time. So now you're going to get second-year player Payne Durham that's going to come in, and he's going to get a lot more snaps at tight end. Keeft is going to be used in blocking formations and in a fullback role, and Devin Colt might actually get a little bit of run as well, as you can read right here. So with all of that being said, I think it's important to talk about what this is going to look like and how I don't think you're going to miss Cade Otton a ton. All right, so since we all remember how good Cade Otton was when Mike Evans was out, I'm going to give you a 4-game stretch right here when Mike Evans was out leading into your bye week of Cade Otton. First, I'm going to give you the targets. He had 10, 10, 11, and 8. He turned that into receptions, 8, 9, 8, and 5. All right, so not only was he doing well, but he was getting yards. All right, he was getting yards. He was scoring touchdowns. He had 3 touchdowns in that time. He had 181, 77, and 35 yards receiving. And then you had the bye week. And coming off the bye week, you're sitting here and he's gotten 3, 7, 4, and 3 targets. He has turned that into 30, 70, or 30, 20, 70, and 24 yards and no touchdowns. And over the last 2 weeks, it has felt at times like he has disappeared. Now, the Cowboys aren't great against opposing tight ends, so you will miss him, but Baker Mayfield has moved to other targets. He has started to trust in some of the wide receivers that you have, all right? McMillan is starting to get more targets. Evans is back, even Shepard a little bit, and then we know he loves to target the running backs. So I don't think this is as big of a hit when we're talking about the passing game. So here's the question that I have. Where is the hit when it comes to blocking? Because like we've said, this is a guy who's been an Iron Man who plays almost every single snap. All right, so let's look at his PFF grades because it's hard. None of us, let's be honest, are sitting here watching every play asking ourselves, how well is Cade Otton blocking? Like, that's not something that anybody's saying right now. All right. He has been good. He's been a good player for you, but nobody's saying how well is he blocking. So his run block has a grade of 64.9 overall. But I'll also say over the last few weeks until the game against the Chargers, his run blocking was just decent. In the 50s, 40s even. But his number at 64.9 overall is because of two really good games blocking against Philly and against the Chargers. All right? Now let's look at his replacement in Payne Durham. All right? His run block is a 58.9. But, and this is where I think it's important to note, Cade Otton pass blocking. It's interesting because you don't think of tight ends as pass blockers, but often they will keep a tight end to chip a defensive lineman or to keep him in just for a little extra protection. Like maybe if you have a guy by the name of Micah Parsons on the opposite side, you might want to keep a tight end on whatever side he's on to give an extra body for blocking. And I think that is a lot of how they would use Cade Otton in this game. So Payne Durham is actually a better blocker when it comes to pass blocking opportunities. He is at an 80.4, and not only is he at an 80.4, but if you look at it game by game, like every game is good, and that's with limited opportunities in each game. So here's why I'm sitting here saying that I think Tampa Bay is going to be fine even with the loss of a tight end who at a time was a fantasy football darling, right? He was a fantasy football darling. And the reason I think they're good is because after losing 4 in a row, all right, they have, with Mike Evans back, won 4 in a row. So even when Cade Otton was going off, they were losing. And so now you get to go play a game against the Cowboys. Cowboys are feeling pretty good. I think they might be coming off a victory over the Panthers. But you get Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. Let Cade Otton rest up. Get him healthy for the playoffs so that he can be a surprise third option in the passing game and maybe get some mismatches. Not to mention that, I mean, Baker Mayfield has been balling out, not just with his yardage. I mean, look at the last 4 games, 294, 235 yards passing, 295 yards passing, and 288 yards passing. And even more recently against the Chargers, I've never seen an offense dominate the Chargers like that. The Broncos in the first quarter and a half did it again on Thursday, but then the Chargers put the clamps down after the first half. And they were like, nope. The Bucs showed a blueprint, and what we are now realizing with this team, with Bucky Irving running the way that he's running, and Rachaad White running better, by the way, this offense is so multiple. And not having Cade Otton doesn't necessarily hurt that. They have wide receivers that can beat you. They have running backs that can beat you in the running game and running backs that can beat you in the receiving game as well. That is how you have a multiple offense. And then you have Baker Mayfield, who's really good at improvising and coming up with stuff on the go. That is why this is a difficult offense to stop. That is why this offense has scored in the last 4 games 30, 26, 28, and 40 points. They are moving. Now they go down to Dallas. I'm not saying it's an easy game on Sunday Night Football, but Baker loves the lights. All right, he loves being down in the South. All right, like this is where he's at home. When he was playing for Oklahoma, going against Texas, right? Like this is what he loves. He loves playing football in the heart of football. And so I would look for Baker to have a really big game against this Dallas defense. I would look for this to still be a good multiple offensive attack and a team that, yes, you are without Cade Otton, which is unique, but it looks like they weren't expecting him because he got 2 did not participates. I'm sure it didn't. I mean, like they had plenty of time throughout the week to prepare for the next one. So bad news. But the good news is that you're still going to be favored to win this game, and you have the tiebreak as well. And your next 2 games after Dallas are Carolina and the Saints. All right, 2 teams that, quite frankly, are not your level. They're just not. All right, hey, thanks for watching. Hopefully you like it, and hopefully you have a great game on Sunday night, and we'll be here to talk about it in the following couple days afterward. See you.